Hi there, thank you for joining me today. This is Leah O'Brien from Honeybee Stamping and More. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the US, and in this video tutorial I'm going to show you how I made this little Halloween treat bag. I was able to fit 8 Reese cups in there, Halloween inspired of course, and they fit perfectly, and it makes a cute little treat bag. It'll make a good treat bag for my adult children. So let's get to work. So to start with, I'm using the Magic in This Night designer series paper that comes out of the August to December mini catalog. The colors that are picked up in this DSP are Pretty Peacock, Blackberry Bliss, black of course, and I think I'm forgetting one. But there's some really nice rich colors in this. So to start with, we're starting with a piece of DSP that's 8.5 by 11 inches. And we're going to bring in the scoreboard. And on the 11-inch side, we're going to score at 2.5, 5 inches, 7.5 inches, and 10 inches. And before we turn this, we're going to do 2 short score lines in these 2 panels, which will, you'll see as soon as we put it all together, basically what it does is it helps it crease better to close, have a cleaner close. So I'm gonna bring in my ruler, and we're going to be scoring at 3 3/4, so that's this line here. And what I'm gonna do is just go down to 4 inches. And then we're going to score at 8 3/4 and do the same thing. Just go down to 4 inches. You could just eyeball it over to here. It doesn't have to be terribly exact, but I thought I'd use my ruler. So then we're going to turn this over and to the 8.5-inch side. And when you do that, you want to make sure that your 1 inch where you made the 10-inch score line is down at the bottom. So we're going to score at 1.5 and 6 inches. Okay, we're all done with that. So I brought in my my template here so that you can see what we're going to do. On this top section, we're going to cut all these panels off. We're just going to leave this one here. This is the actual top, that's the top flap. And then at the bottom, we're going to just remove this one here, and we're just going to cut in between those flaps. This is what makes the bottom of the bag. And then I put little marks here. This is going to be where you're going to wedge your bottom flaps. It just helps them to close a little bit neater. And then on the side here, of course, we've already removed this one, and we've already removed this panel up here. And then this is the side that kind of brings the whole thing together and forms a square, and we're just going to wedge these 2 pieces. So why don't we get cutting? So see, we've cut everything out just like the template shows. The only thing that I haven't done that I want to tell you about is on this panel and this panel, I just removed about 1 inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch. I eyeballed it. It just, again, it makes it less bulky when you fold it all on top of each other. Okay, so there it is. It matches up our template perfectly. So let's put it all together. Before we do that, I'm going to fold and burnish all my score lines. I like to do that after I've done the cutting. It just makes it easier to handle a flat piece of paper. This is designer series paper. It's not a specialty paper, so your finger as a burnisher is fine. Sometimes I think I get a little overzealous with my bone folder, and I end up tearing the paper. Okay, so now we're going to put, I use tear and tape for my adhesive, and the first place we're going to do is put tear and tape right here along that score line so we get a nice finish. And this is something, I was watching a video and I saw the demonstrator use a business card to tear her tear and tape. And I have to say, I thought it was genius. I can never tear it without tearing the designer series paper. So I started using that and it's brilliant. I just love that idea. So we're going to put some tear and tape here. And of course, as a shameless plug, I'm using my son's business card. He's a flutist. And we're going to put a piece over here, and this short flap. And then one on this flap right here, the bigger flap. And then I'm just going to use my finger and make sure that these are down all the way. And then let's put it together. Before we do that, I'm sorry, I almost forgot. We're going to round the corners on this flap. So I'm going to bring in my detailed triple punch. And then to make the holes for the ribbon, I used my Crocodile. I know Stampin' Up! Doesn't sell these anymore, but you can use pretty much anything. If you have a hole a punch that you can use, or even a hole puncher that I do believe Stampin' Up! Does sell. But I just kind of eyeballed that, and it's easier to do this before it's all put together. Okay, so now we're ready to put it together. So you just fold this side over, and fold this over, and you get a nice clean connection. Okay, so then what I'm going to do is remove the tear and tape backing to the little flaps. And then the side that has the tear and tape on the back, we're going to use that. And I forgot to put a piece of tear and tape on that side. This is the rest of them were on the outside. This one is just on the inside flap, inside of the flap. So we're going to move this one. It may seem a little bit like overkill with the tear and tape, but those Reese cups are heavy, so I want to make sure it holds it without any problem. So I'm just going to hold it down and then use the back of my tool to make sure everything is secure. So these are those little crease lines that we only went down 4 inches, and I just used my fingers to kind of finger press them into position. And then I use these, they're little 5/8 inch Velcro tabs, and I put them together so they're just easier to, like when I first open up the pack, just makes it easier to work with. So I'll just remove one side and keep the 2 parts together and adhere it on the inside there, and then remove the backing. Squeeze that together and line that up. Just give it a little rub and then just remove it. And then I need to go in there and just squeeze it, make sure that it's adhered. So the first thing we're going to do to decorate is I used my Stitch So Sweetly die cuts. I stamped it with Happy Haunting, which comes from the Banner Year stamp set. I used the iridescent pearls that go with this suite if you were to purchase the suite, and I'm just going to adhere that to the front of my little bag. And I'm just going to use snail, sorry, it's not called snail anymore, Stamp and Seal. And then I'm going to tie my ribbon, and the ribbon I have is the metallic mesh. Kind of looks like a silvery spider web, doesn't it? I already pre-cut. This is about 14 inches. And through the magic of movie editing, there's my little bag. So it's all ready to be filled up with some Halloween candy. Click subscribe below so you don't miss my next video, and then if you click on the bell, you'll be notified every time I do post a new video. If you're interested in purchasing any of the Stampin' Up! Products that I used in this project, they will be linked on my blog. I will also include a link to my blog post where you can find detailed measurements and more about this project. If you visit me, I'd love to have you visit me at honeybeestampingandmore.blogspot.com, where I post projects every week. You can subscribe to my blog by clicking the contact form, and you'll receive notification of my new blog post via email. You can shop with me anytime at honeybeestampingandmore.blogspot.com by clicking on the current Stampin' Up! Catalog that's on the right-hand side of my blog. It'll take you directly to my Stampin' Up! Shopping page. If you're interested in a discount on your stamping products, the starter kit is the best way to get your wish list items for free. Until next time, have a beautiful day.